This is Powered by the Trades, a Milwaukee Tool podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? We are at the 2025 Milwaukee Pipeline. This is Bob's Decline, and I'm here with Kyle from Milwaukee. A little bit of an introduction, Kyle.
Yeah, great to be here with you, Aaron. My name is Kyle Anderson. I'm with Milwaukee Tool. I'm on the personal protective equipment team. I'm a PM on that team, and I cover about half of our PPE categories, but my main focus is really head protection and all our bolt accessories here.
Awesome. And so my name is Aaron Leblanc. Some of you may have watched my YouTube channels, Bob's Decline. And for those that have seen it, Kyle sent me a real cool hard hat there a few months ago that had the logo on it. So big thanks to that. I've been chatting and working with Kyle for about 3 years now on a lot of products. And this guy's dedication to the trade, to the safety of the trade, especially with us in the power line world, it blows my mind. So I'm really glad to have the opportunity to sit down and chat with you about some stuff. What's the latest and greatest? What are we looking at today?
Latest and greatest in head protection for us is really that transition from the Type 1 hard hats, which are traditional, right, for the power utility space, the full brim hard hats, moving into that Type 2 safety helmet. We did launch a couple Type 2 safety helmets, in the last few years, which were no brim or front brim. We just launched and just introduced our new Type 2 full brim safety helmet. And really a lot of that was due to some of the user feedback and the needs of the trades, like the power utility trades specifically, that we're looking for that traditional full brim. You guys are out in the elements day in and day out. You want that large brim for sun protection, rain protection, the elements, as well as even some, arc flash type scenarios, right? That just gives you some more protection in those events as well. So that's the latest and greatest that we just started launching in July. And we're going to continue to, keep investing in that space and PPE and growing it as well.
Oh, sweet. And I've had a little bit of a sneak peek at things to come. You mentioned out in the field the feedback with the linemen. Have you been out in the field yourself to kind of do some research and development on this product and speak to the guys directly? And is that kind of what had you head off this project with the full brim?
Yeah, a lot of times for all our NPD projects here at Milwaukee Tool, we get out in the field, we talk to the users, we go out and get in the environment and see what their pain points are, right? What their asks are, what their frustrations are with current equipment. And then we use all that feedback to go back and bring it back to the engineering teams and the development teams here in Milwaukee and really try to make the best product we can that's going to meet the needs of our users and satisfy them as much as possible. For example, on the full brim head protection, the one thing with a chin strap for Type 2 helmets, chin straps are, commonplace now in the Type 2 helmet space. For power utility linemen, we have nylon chin straps for our standard helmets, and that wasn't going to work for them, right? In case they're in a arc flash event. Yeah, so they wanted some FR chin strap material. So we worked with some suppliers and developed a Kevlar webbing that's inherently FR rated. So, if you are involved in one of those arc flash events, you will be protected. You're not going to have, any afterburn or ignition of that textile material that's attached to the helmet.
And that's the stuff people might not see out in the field. Like the work that goes into something is seemingly simple as a chin strap. Because I actually went to the, I'm going to say this wrong, but Connectrix lab, I think, in Toronto, where they do arc flash testing. Yep. And man, if you haven't seen an arc flash in person, which most linemen have seen an arc flash from a fault tree in the line, but when you see it in an enclosed space, an arc flash that's directly propelled at a mannequin wearing arc flash gear, and see how that stuff, if not rated properly, can burn right into your skin. Yeah. It's horrifying. So the viewers, obviously you can't see it right now if you're watching on a podcast, but Kyle did send me a little sample of the arc flash chin strap, and it feels no different than the nylon one. And wearing that in the field, where it is becoming more and more of a requirement with many companies, it's good that you guys have covered and really looked into that safety.
Yep. Yeah, it adds that extra layer of protection, and then just for you guys out there feeling confident, in the equipment you're wearing, that if you are unfortunately involved in one of those events, you're going to be safe, or it's not going to add to the potential injury there.
Absolutely.
And you brought up Connectrix, right? We use a company down here called Arcware.
Okay.
And they do all their testing up in Toronto at that lab that you're speaking of. So
Oh, cool.
we do test all our climbing style helmets as well as the new full brim that we just launched. We test all the products up there, at different calorie ratings. So we've tested the full brim from 8 cal all the way up through 26 cal, right?
Wow.
We see no afterburning, melting, dripping, ignition, right? To give you guys a peace of mind out in the field that hey, if I put this helmet on and I'm involved in one of these incidents, it's not going to add to the injury. So we do a lot of that above and beyond testing, above and beyond what is required by NFPA 70E down here, or anything you guys have up in the Canadian market as well.
So would that just be like the Class E helmets that are arc flash tested like that? You wouldn't arc flash test all bolt hard hats? Or
No, we don't do the vented ones just because that
they're going to fail. There's holes through them.
Yep, exactly. So all the Class E stuff is what we test up there, and then we test different combinations with some of our accessories as well, just to make sure we're covering all our bases.
Yeah, cool. So while doing research out in the fields, me personally, I wear a hard hat almost every day of my life. And I work in all aspects of line work. I do underground work, overhead. It's been a while, but I have been on towers. I might even be doing metering in an enclosed space in the hot basement of a new construction building kind of thing.
Yeah.
So some of the common problems within the world of head protection, we can't wear a vented hard hat. So they might be a little warmer. There's not as much air circulation, for example, is one. And then there's the issues with the weight, especially when you get into the safety helmets. There's some added protections. Along with that comes some added weight. Yep. But when we were chatting yesterday, you had a scale out right on the table. And I can't remember the number exactly, but it was lighter than the competitors.
Yep.
So with your experience out in the field talking with guys, what are the common problems you hear, and how have you guys addressed those? How did you make the hard hat lighter than all the competitors?
Yeah, so really when it comes to head protection, right, if you're wearing a hard hat or a safety helmet all day, every day, day in and day out, like you're explaining there, heat and weight were the two biggest points of feedback we got, not only from the power utility trades, but from all trades, right? Yeah. Going from a hard hat that does have, a little bit more air circulation with the standard nylon webbing suspension, to a safety helmet with some additional foam for that side impact protection, and the chin strap, that's going to add some weight. The chin strap itself is, depending on us versus the competitors, is between 30 grams all the way up to potentially 50 grams, right? So even just that chin strap's adding some weight to the whole system. Sure. But those are two of the big common pain points, and that's what we were trying to address too with this new full brim we launched. So it's actually the coolest and lightest full brim Type 2 safety helmet in the market right now.
And I even noticed there's more of a gap around, I don't know how to say this where someone can visualize it, but the circumference of your head. With the Bolt hard hat, I could fit my fingers in between the plastic of the hard hat and the harness itself.
Yep.
So as you mentioned, there is the airflow.
Yeah.
But while you're trying to achieve this minimum amount of weight and airflow, obviously comfort's important. If it's not comfort, people aren't going to want to wear it.
Yeah.
And everyone's head's different shape. And I find these hard hats, they're extremely comfortable. What's the kind of research and development that goes into that? Like, how do you make something comfortable, but yet it applies to every head shape and style out there?
Yeah, so that's a challenge the engineering team always, gets frustrated with, because we can't just develop a test method and, do a life test on, a ratchet, for example, right? That's something we can develop a test to figure out how long it's going to last before it eventually fails. But for comfort, it's really subjective, right?
Yeah,
your head's different shape than mine. You might have different pressure points that you'd feel compared to me. So a lot of that comes back to getting out and getting in the field and doing a lot of research with all the relationships we have, on the power utility side of the business, as well as the other verticals that we cover. We just get out there and make sure we're testing, sampling products. You saw the manufacturing we do here in Wisconsin, which is a huge advantage for us. So we can soft tool up a product and get it tested and certified before we ever launch it and get it out in the field. Like you've had a few out, in the field with you.
Yeah.
And we can get some feedback before we actually, make the investment in a hard tool and, all the other additional investments you have to make to actually get into production. So a lot of it comes down to field feedback, field testing, and then we also do, a lot of just internal testing just to make sure, right? Head breadth, head length, circumference, ratcheting size. Those all have play factors in, into the comfort of the product, even center of gravity and things like that.
Cool. Yeah. And it never ceases to amaze me when you mention feedback. Like, as you said, I've tried some of these products out, and the seriousness in which you guys take the customer feedback. You're designing a product, you could be almost at the finish line, and all of a sudden the ones that are out in the market, there's obviously field testing being done, and you could be almost at the finish line and be like, oh my God, there's this one piece of plastic that pokes into the side of your head, or just something foolish like that. And you guys will stop and address that, no question. And you do that with all your products at Milwaukee, and it's really important, and it's really nice to hear how much you take the user's feedback into that. And I was very fortunate to go, you're gonna have to help me out on this one, Mukwonago or something.
Mukwonago.
Mukwonago. All right. So yesterday, an important role in Kyle's position here at Milwaukee is helping look after this Mukwonago plant. And this place is huge. So you guys are going to keep an eye out. I'm hoping within the next 30 days, we'll be able to see this on YouTube. It was the first ever instance where Milwaukee has allowed somebody to go in and gather footage of this facility. So there is a lot of stuff that's proprietary, obviously, that we can't show, but we did get some really great coverage on how these hard hats are made right here in Wisconsin. And what really impressed me was they're making hard hats for the entire world there. And standards differ depending on even between US and Canada. Standards are different. But you guys are making hard hats that are shipping over to Europe and basically all over the world that have different standards. And I've actually captured on video the molds that are interchangeable, that they can swap out and carry on with new hard hat development. It's definitely check it out. It'll be on YouTube on Bob's Decline. We'll get some really cool shots of that. So for the customizability, like, you guys do custom logos on the hard hats, bolt accessories. You mentioned yesterday I think you said there was like 75 different accessories now, or even more.
Yeah, we have a ton of different accessories, and then with all the different color combinations and styles and classes of hard hats, we've got literally hundreds of different combinations and options you can really customize to your needs, whether it's, the bolt accessories, earmuffs, face shields, eye visors, sun protection, or just the different colors. 12 standard colors that we offer, and then we also offer the custom logoing process that we do right there in the Mukwonago facility as well. So literally soup to nuts, that facility, we get raw material in on one end, where you started that tour, you saw where we get all the raw material coming in the front door or the back door. And then you walk through that whole process, right? There's nothing coming into that factory that's already assembled and we're just doing final assembly. It's all manufactured there,
from
injection molded there,
finish.
Built there, tested there. And that's just another testament to the dedication that we have for this industry and for, making sure that all the hard hats and helmets and head protection we're building for the world out of that factory are not only the highest quality, but, we put our name on every single one of them. We want to make sure we own that process from end to end. So there's no gaps in anything, because it's your guys' life, that we want to try to save if there is any incidents
100%.
or injuries, right? We want to try to prevent any of that.
And the first thing I saw when we rolled up was they had 4 silos, for lack of better words. I don't know, probably like 60 feet high.
Oh yeah.
It just contained plastic pellets.
Yeah. So that's all our raw material resin. We've got 4 of those silos, 90,000 pounds of resin per silo.
Oh, wow.
And the typical hard hat or helmet is about a pound worth of resin. So if you do the math on that, we've got
hard hats.
That's part of the other thing we do. If there are any supply chain constraints or, resin issues from our resin supplier, we house a ton of that resin on site. So we can, any demand changes or any supply chain interruptions, we're protected from that in a lot of ways because of the investment we've made there, just to make sure that we can continue to deliver, these helmets and hard hats to our customers and get them out as quick as possible, right? Because if you guys got a job, or you hiring a lot of new people and you need helmets or hard hats, you can't wait 6 weeks or 6 months for them. You need them as soon as possible
Yeah.
in most cases.
You can push them out, and you'll really see that in the coverage we got. What was cool too was someone on the tour. I don't know if because they gave me a hard hat with a demo, and it had the Bob's Decline text in my proper font, which was cool on the hard hat. And there was another fellow with us. I don't know if they didn't have one for him or if he just asked on the fly for the logo, but he sent a text to one of the guys and said, "Hey, this is my company logo." And the guy came back 10 minutes later and was like, "Here's your hard hat, dude." And it had the logo on it, and it was like cured, ready to go, ready to wear. It happened that like within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They spit a hard hat out for him with his own custom logo on it. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's a testament to the team down there. Our team is incredible. We've got a best-in-class, world-class team. Dan Landwehr, it's probably the gentleman you're referring to. He runs our whole customization process and program down there. And we get urgent, priority requests from customers all the time. And like you said, you can see how fast we can pivot, and we can be extremely agile when it comes to, getting customers their custom product as soon as possible. And we can really adjust production plans and do all sorts of stuff to, owning all that process and having all that manufacturing done right there in Mukwonago really lets us be agile and, make sure we get the product to our customers as soon as possible and exceed expectations, right?
It definitely. It was impressive. I'm really glad you guys decided to move forward with allowing us to go through that plant, the tour there. So moving forward with the safety helmets, what prompted you guys to dive into that space for the safety helmets with the side impact rating? Was it was it a demand from the workers? Was it a demand for regulations? Is it because of accidents?
Yeah, so a lot of the inception of the Type 2 safety helmets really was driven by the customer demand. OSHA and a lot of the regulatory bodies, CSA, there's no requirement right now across the board to have a Type 2 safety helmet. And it was a lot of times we were seeing some climbing style helmets like from the European market for certain applications, at height applications or other things that were kind of sneaking into the American market and into the North American market. And then slips, trips, and falls are the number one cause of job site fatalities. So if you look at how people are getting injured out in the field and what's causing these fatalities, it's usually not just an object falling straight down on the top of their head.
Yeah.
It's usually they're falling from heights or they're, slip, trip, and fall, just those really simple accidents that you don't ever expect to happen on the same level are causing severe, traumatic brain injuries and sometimes even deaths.
Yeah.
So looking at some of those statistics and then our customers coming to us and, saying, hey, we're going to start mandating these Type 2 safety helmets because we're seeing a huge reduction in, head injuries with them.
Yeah.
That's what really got us started and got us prompted to dive in head first and make that investment in Mukwonago and really own our own destiny when it comes to the head protection space.
And I'm glad you mentioned that slip, trips, and falls because I don't want to get into the story, but there was an incident that hit very close to home with one of our guys. It was outside of work, but it was a fall. Many years ago, he was one of our brothers, and he passed away. And it wasn't a fall from heights. It was a fall on the ground, hit the back of his head.
Yep.
And it's one of those things. Like I said, he wasn't working. He was at home.
Yeah.
But we're on job sites. We're patrolling through the woods, tripping over roots and tree branches. You're working with the chainsaw and stuff, so there's jagged edges all over the place. We respond in Canada in icy weather. We have slips, trips, and falls in the ice all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hit the back of your head from a fall, just at a same level fall, there can be some very serious injuries.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I think these hard hats they're these safety helmets, I should say. They're going to have a huge impact on the amount of incidents that have traumatic brain injuries. It's still going to hurt when you bang your head, but it's importance of clean workspace and all that. But there's only so much you can do, and then you rely on your last line of defense, which is your PPE ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give another example as well. It was actually a power utility company down here. One of their mechanics was working on a skid steer. Who would have thought he would need a Type 2 safety helmet, right? He was a mechanic doing some hydraulic work, and he had the bucket off the skid steer, and he had the boom in the air. I don't know, doing hydraulic work, and he was backing up, looking at something, and fell over the bucket cracked the back of his head on the concrete.
Oh, wow.
And he had a traumatic brain injury. Luckily, he didn't pass away, but it affected him and his family for quite a
Absolutely.
while. And that's probably the last guy you would expect to need a Type 2 safety helmet, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And after that incident, they started looking really seriously into helmets, and they adopted our bolt climbing style helmets. They're actually now converting over to that full brim helmet just because they want the full brim Type 2 safety helmet now. But it was something that it's either those incidents that happen that they look to go and then find a solution to help prevent in the future, or some of the companies that are proactively hearing about these incidents and saying, hey, we want to prevent that, even if it's a 1 in a million chance that something like that will happen.
Oh,
If we can
sure.
prevent an injury or help save a life, they're going to make that investment.
If I ran my own company and had a warehouse with 20 guys working running forklifts and stuff, I'd be outfitting them with safety helmets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just make sure I do everything I can to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And the new full brims they're the cool style too.
Yeah.
They,
Yep.
Yeah. That's especially in our trade. You like to have those nowadays. Even safety glasses. They're
Yeah.
moving into. They're not just these big bulky, foolish looking things.
Yep.
So you can be safe
Mm-hmm.
with breakthrough technology in safety and in style.
Yeah.
So we got some new safety glass stuff coming out from Milwaukee, and these wide brim hard hats. And I think Instagram's going to blow up with some selfies of guys out in the field. Check out my new Milwaukee safety glasses and hard hat. It's going to be cool. I can't wait to see this stuff come out in the field.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. Once those launch, we're excited to get not only those new safety glasses that you're mentioning, but the full brims as well. Once we flood the market with both, I'm excited to see the reception from the men and women out in the field. How they like them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we talked early in the conversation about the chin strap.
Yep.
So have we looked into much with the earmuff attachments, the lighting attachments, the cooling pads? Is that all things right now that have been tested? Are we looking at testing that? Especially for our trade, there's many applications that everything we wear must be arc flash tested or flame resistant.
Yep. Yeah, so the full brim helmet that we've tested as a system with that FR chin strap, like I mentioned earlier, is rated up to that 26 cal, or is tested up to the 26 cal, and then that's kind of the base of the system, right? So we want to make sure we got that right to begin with and made sure that was good to go for you guys. A lot of the other bolt accessories were in the process of testing and doing that same arc flash testing as you mentioned, and then we're constantly listening to feedback and understanding what gaps do we have and what gaps do we need to close to make sure we're not just outfitting you with the helmet, but outfitting you with all the other necessary accessories to go along with that. So I can say, continue to keep an eye out for, future launches and future work we're doing, because if the user's demanding it, Milwaukee's listening, and we'll, sooner than later, we'll have something to help out in all your needs, whether it be accessories or other helmets or this or that. Like, we're constantly trying to develop needs, and if we have gaps, those are something we're going to be really focused on. Yeah.
Cool. So for the listeners of the podcast, if you have a guy screaming into the mic, he's like, "Why aren't you guys doing this?" So when they have feedback, if he puts a comment on a Instagram post or a YouTube post or even on the podcast, is that something? Maybe it's a stretch, but you would personally see? Would you see someone's comment saying, "How come you don't have this?"
Yeah, usually all the positive comments nobody tells us about. Well, I mean, we can see them if we're going and look through everyone, but if there's some negative comments or we get negative reviews or anything like that, we have a whole team
to address
those. Yeah. So they'll actually reach back out and ask for more information, or if say they had a product quality issue or something, or they had a product that didn't meet their expectations and they leave a review or leave a comment. We've got a whole team that monitors that, and then that will bring that back up to us. And we actually have a monthly meeting. Each department does. So like the hand tools, safety and storage business unit, we have a monthly meeting that they go through, and we look at all those star reviews or negative comments, and we see like, hey, is a product change necessary? Is this a one-off case? How do we address this? And we always address it directly with that user and try to understand, what was their frustration, if what was wrong with the product, what did it not meet their expectations. We go out and we actually reach out directly in a lot of those cases to
That's-
see
that-
how we can
that's-
improve.
That's impressive, and I feel it's a very genuine concern for the user as well, because that's not something I've ever seen Milwaukee advertise. They're not like, "Hey, reach out to us with your problems." It's not something they advertise. It's something that they're very humble with. That, and I've seen it on social media where somebody would say, "You release a new product," and a user say, "I bought it, and then this happened."
Yep.
And I'll see a comment, "Hey, Kyle, can you reach out to us directly?"
Yeah.
And talking with you guys directly, sometimes I even hear of some situations where you guys addressed the issue, fixed it, and maybe it was an ongoing learning for products moving forward that caused a permanent change.
Yep.
But if it's not particularly an issue, but more of an ask for demand when you talk of new products and stuff, how can users out there communicate that to Milwaukee? If there's a particular, let's say for the wide brim hard hat, there's a huge demand for that wide brim hard hat.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys become aware initially of that demand, especially within our trade?
Yeah, a lot of times we have a job site solutions team. So we've got over 1,500 JSS sales members out in the field getting on job sites, not only in the USA, but up in Canada, all over the world. We have JSS sales team members that are out there getting feedback day in and day
Just
out
word
from
of
the
mouth,
field. Yeah,
working with
so
the guys.
they're out
Cool.
in the field, they're talking to our users. And if they hear something, like a concern or a frustration or, hey, why don't you have this? Your competitor does, and you guys are missing out. They bubble that all back up through their, through the sales leadership team and even directly to us as product managers. And then we can go and look at the business case and look at the opportunity and start to build a plan around how do we go to market with, with whatever solution that may be.
Very cool.
And then on the safety team, we also have a safety specialist sales team. So we've got 21 men and women in the U.S., and there's about a half a dozen up in Canada that are safety specialists or safety focused that go and call on end users and just sell safety, only talk about safety, whether it's PPE or whether it's all the safety solutions kind of you see on the back wall behind us.
Yeah.
So they are really in tune with a lot of, industry trends, and, they get to hear a lot of that feedback firsthand. And then we also, the whole PPE team, we're in constant communication with the safety sales team. We have a text thread, a group text. They're constant. We had monthly meetings. We're constantly talking to those guys and getting feedback. And, it's our direct line of communication really to the field.
Nice.
And then if, we do have some feedback that we need to get out in the field to go and address, or, that's outside of the NPD projects we're working on, we can get out there and work with the safety team to really get that firsthand feedback, whether it's on a product that's already launched or NPD products. They really help us get out in front of the right users to make sure we're getting the correct feedback to make the product right.
And yesterday you had a long day demoing the hard hats.
Yep.
Was there anything that caught you off guard yesterday, or that you learned? All the media people here, they're all users of your products.
Yeah. Yep.
And with the newer products, obviously there's some demonstrations, some feedback from the users, and every once in a while you get caught off guard with something, or you learn something new, or hear any interesting feedback. How'd the day go yesterday?
Day went really well. We got a lot of really good feedback on the full brim. A lot of great reception. People obviously like the looks of it, like the lighter, cooler features we were showing off and
Nice.
and speaking to. I think one of the conversations I actually had with you yesterday about the ratchet on the back, right? That was something that stuck
Absolutely.
out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you were mentioning about some of the ratcheting issues you've had in the past and pain points, and how do we solve those and
So just to elaborate on that for the listeners, some of the issues I've had without naming brands is we're looking up in the air a lot as linemen. And there was a few hard hats I've used in the past that when I look up, the ratchet would hit up against my back, more specifically my winter coat. We're wearing parkas in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And the ratchet would hit up against the hood on my parka and lift the back of my hard hat right off. This design here, the knob's sleeker, it's fitted in tighter, and I'm not going to have that issue at all. I did get a sample from you earlier this year that I tried on specifically with the winter coat, and man, it's perfect. I'm impressed that you guys addressed that issue for sure.
Yep. So yeah, like those kind of things stick out. And then, like you're saying, if there's other issues, once we get products into the market, if you bring us problems or issues with it, we don't just turn a blind eye and say, oh, well, we'll deal with that on the next launch. Like we actively go in and make changes if we have to make sure we're not putting out a bad product in the market.
Yeah, and it shows for sure. All right, so we got to wrap this up, but we got some cool stuff coming up, some stuff that we can't really talk about right now.
Yeah.
But hoping to work with you, continue moving forward. And I think we'll see some of the new stuff maybe within the next year come out, and some of it on my channel on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
So any of the listeners, if they want to check out, just punch in Bob's Decline on YouTube. It'll bring you to my content. It's the channel name is Bob's Decline Lineman Blogger. There's all kinds of stuff on there. If you want to reach out to me directly in a DM, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook is the best way. If I don't get back to you, just try again. I get flooded with messages sometimes, so just kind of wait a couple weeks, shoot a new message, bump it back up to the top. But Kyle, do you interact with the public at all? If someone wants to send you any feedback, if you got a user out there that's, like I said, just yelling at the mic, like, Kyle, I want to tell you this. Is there any way they can get that information to you?
Yeah, a lot of times they can, either reach out to the Milwaukee Tool like Facebook page, like you said, any of those same channels, Facebook, Instagram. If you message Milwaukee Tool in any way, the social media team will bubble all those messages up to the right product managers or the right team members to get that message through. Nice. And that's probably the easiest way, not just leaving a comment, on a video, but if you DM directly the Milwaukee Tool channels.
Cool.
That's
on
probably
Facebook
the best way.
Or Instagram
exactly.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Very cool. All right, man. Well, it's great to see you again.
Yeah.
And can't wait till next year. There's a lot of really exciting stuff that I've heard some chatter about while at the pipeline. So hopefully we'll see you guys all next year. And Kyle,
Absolutely.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, Aaron, great to see you. Hopefully safe travels back. I know it was hard to get down here. So
she was a challenge.
Yeah. All right.
All right, man.
Have a good one.
You too.